So you might not believe this. I've never actually listened to this band before this album. I've known about them for a long time. I remember reading about them in magazines when I was younger, but for some reason I never actually went out and bought any of their albums. And it's kind of strange. I'm really into those types of bands that have those like theatrical gimmicks, like Kiss, Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie, Wasp. I had a lot of like those albums, when I was younger, but there's something about this band that seemed kind of cheesy to me. And I'm someone who actually, I owned the Green Jello album Serial Killer on the VHS tape back in the early 90s. So I am into those cheesy bands, but for some reason I never like ventured into listening to this band. So if you're new here, this is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. My name is John. I do rock and metal reviews, album rankings, everything from metal to alternative to classic rock. And this band GWAR kind of like fits into all those categories to some degree. So they're a band that came out in the late 80s. They're kind of like more of a comedy and theater group, not really a band. They kind of like rotate their members over the years. They've been consistent in releasing albums, and on average they release an album maybe every like 3 or 4 years. And they have been doing that since the late 80s, throughout the 90s and 2000s. They were never like very popular, but they did have an underground following. And this is in part to gaining popularity, around the time grunge was popular. So I think for that reason, a lot of metal bands did kind of go underground. So that brings us to the album, The New Dark Ages. So when I first started listening to this, I was actually surprised. I had never listened to this band before. And what kind of caught my attention was they kind of had like this high level of musicianship. But at the same time, they were very like cheesy and campy and, exactly what you would expect. But the album is enjoyable. They play different styles. They play traditional heavy metal. They play some thrash, some doom metal. And I actually went into this expecting it to be a thrash metal album, because that was the kind of the style of music I thought the band played. But they do encompass many different styles. They kind of remind me of like the band Ghost as well. It's like their music is like very dark, it's heavy, but there's also like this like cheesy, like theatrical aspect to it. And they're kind of weird, but kind of intriguing. If I have any complaints about the album is that if the album feels kind of long, and I think that's because of like the last song being like 3 songs totaling 15 minutes, and it's called like the Death Whistle Suite. I thought those ones kind of dragged a little, but the album has a really good like front half. Now the one song that stood out was called Ratcatcher. And this one has like this chorus, it's like, I got your children in my basement, they ain't never gonna get out, or something like that. It's just catchy. It's a hair metal song. It has like the cowbell, a really cheesy animated music video. And I think the song is supposed to be like an exterminator that captures children, for the people who don't pay their bills, something along those lines. And it's just like the cheesiness of the song. It kind of like softens like the very dark lyrical content. So I thought that was pretty cool. The song titles are like humorous. They curse a lot in their song titles. Then there's some songs that are very strange. So take, for example, Venom of the Platypus. Kind of has like a weird industrial metal sound, has haunting guitar riffs, an ominous tone. But I like how they change the tone like throughout the album. It was cool how the song kind of gets slow and dark at times and then it gets faster. The music was kind of simple, but these guys are not trying to be like, like virtuosos. They play good music. The songs are well written. They can play very well, but they're not really trying to be like very flashy with their playing. It's more of like, just trying to like, paint a picture with their songs. And they have fun. There's also like a horror movie, like synth aspect of the song. So it's pretty cool. So like I was saying, they do curse a lot. A lot of the song titles, have curses in them, like Motherfucking Liar. That's a fun song. Simpler and repetitive chorus. Chunky riffs. Kind of sounds like a Rob Zombie song, but like filled with curses. But don't mistake this band for being a novelty. There's some pretty good, music and pretty good musicianship here. And they do have a pretty cool interlude. It sounds very good with like the melodic guitar playing. Throughout the album, they change their tone. So there's a song, Unto the Breach. It's like doom metal. They play like these slow riffs, a dark tone. It's like classic Black Sabbath worship. And if you like those like Tony Iommi types of riffs, you probably like this song. Another song, Completely Fucked. Reminds you a lot of the band Wasp. The vocals actually sound a lot like Black and Lawless. has that classic metal style, some fast drum beats, and they were going for like this classic metal sound, and they do it like very well. I hear some elements of the band like Metal Church here as well, so I thought that was a really cool song. So Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm makes a guest appearance on the song The Cutter. It's a song that appears to be about like a female serial killer or just someone who just likes to cut people. So there's a line where she says like, you know, she doesn't hurt herself, she hurts you. Now Lizzie Hale sings a section in the interlude, and I think she fits on this song, has some like chunky riffs and like a classic metal style. A song called Rise Again. It has someone or something called Hey Steve, which I don't know what it is or who he is, and I tried to research it. I didn't really find much, but it's a song about the dead coming back to life, kind of like a doom metal song, and has a slow classic metal sound, maybe like a little horror punk. And I see like a band like the Misfits playing something like this. There's a song, The Beast Will Eat Itself, kind of sounds like Voivod. It has like a weird science fiction themed lyrics, kind of those Voivod style riffs, and it's a weird song, but I do like how they change their lyrical topics and try to match like the music with their lyrical content. I don't really feel they need to keep like consistent style like throughout the whole album. I think they like to like change it up. Last song I'll talk about before I close this up is called Bored to Death. Kind of reminds me of like crossover, like thrash metal, maybe like Suicidal Tendencies, that type of style. Got the chunky riffs, gang vocals, and it really shows how this band can do lots of like different stuff on and out. So that's all I'm going to say about this band. They kind of give you what you're expecting. You know, these guys dressed in these crazy outfits. You know, it's kind of going to be some like campy heavy metal band, but it's cool. They're decent musicians. They write good songs. I like that part of it. You know, like I said, they remind me of the band like Green Jello, but I think they put like a little more work into their albums. You know, the songs are not going to be like this gimmick like Green Jello is like, hey, we're this band that sucks, we're the worst band in the world. No, I mean, these guys, they kind of like put time into like what they're trying to write. So I like that. And they know what they're doing. They create songs that they like, and they actually like fit the style of music with the lyrical content. I thought that was pretty cool. So I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. Let me know in the comments what you thought.
I got your children in my basement, just trying to get out. I got policemen searching my neighborhood, they'll never figure it out. I got your children in my basement, got the rock in my pipe. I got your children in my basement, for the rest of their lives. I got your children in my basement, feeling scared and alone. I got your children in my basement, they're never gonna come home.